44th session of the World Heritage Committee from Fuzhou in China. And my name is Shahbaz Khan. I'm the director of UNESCO Cluster Office in Beijing, and I represent UNESCO to China and our other cluster countries. I will be moderating today's press conference. As you know, the press conference is live streamed, and there is interpretation in French, English, and Chinese. To choose the language you prefer, please click on the globe icon at the bottom of your screen. And we are very pleased to have with us today Mr. Ernesto Ottone, UNESCO Assistant Director General for Culture, and he's joining us from our headquarters in Paris. And in Fuzhou here, we are privileged to have His Excellency Mr. Tian Xuejun, Chair of the 44th session of the World Heritage Committee. His Excellency is the Vice Minister of Education and Chairperson of the National Commission of the People's Republic of China for UNESCO. Also in Fuzhou, we have our dear Dr. Mechtild Rössler, Director of the UNESCO World Heritage Center. Now, I request Mr. Ottone to give some opening remarks to this press conference. Over to you, ADG.
Thank you so much. I hope that you hear me from Paris. We are very happy. We would like to be with our chairperson there, but we are trying to do the best that we can with this new form of World Heritage Committee. So UNESCO, first of all, is very grateful to the Chinese government for hosting this session, especially in such difficult circumstances. And support like this make the work of the committee possible. Then to tell you that we are living historical moment because this session is hybrid, online, but also with the chairperson there. It's 2 years of work to cover. It's the first time that we have to integrate 2 years of state of conservation, of inscriptions, and on larger debates. We look forward, as we have seen it in the last 2 days, for an efficient session. As you know, UNESCO and the advisory bodies have worked hard to present the most accurate, fact-based information regarding the state of conservation of sites, and we look for sure forward to constructive decision. Lastly, it's important to mention that, as you will know, the first instance was for more than 2 years, the preparation of the recommendation made by the advisory body and the World Heritage Center. Now we are in the second and decisive part of the work. That means that the 21 members of the committee have to decide what new sites will it be inscribed, what about the state of conservation of more than 240 et quelques sites. So we have a lot of work ahead of us, and we are very happy to answer all the questions that can come from the media. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, dear Mr. Ottone, and thank you for giving the perspective in these very special times we are in. Now I request His Excellency, Mr. Tian Xuejun, to give opening remarks.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, greetings from Fuzhou, and welcome to you all to the press conference. The opening ceremony of the extended 44th session of the World Heritage Committee was held in Fuzhou with live streaming to the global audiences 2 days ago on the 16th July, making the start of the committee's work. I believe that most of you have followed the opening ceremony on-site or online. And I wish to take this opportunity to thank you for your attention and interest to the World Heritage Committee session. You may have noticed from the opening ceremony that as the host country, China has attached great importance to the 44th session of the World Heritage Committee. Chinese President Xi Jinping sent a congratulatory message to the session, highlighting our collective responsibility to preserve the cultural and the natural treasures of all humanity and stressing the importance of international cooperation in this regard for the community with a shared future for mankind. Vice Premier Sun Chunlan read out the message and delivered opening remarks, reiterating China's commitment to the implementation of the World Heritage Convention and calling for concerted international efforts to protect world heritage on the platform of UNESCO in the spirit of genuine multilateralism. Madam Director General, Mr. President of the General Conference, and Mr. Chairperson of the Executive Board have all attended the opening ceremony. I am deeply grateful for their warm remarks and strong messages to the international community, reminding and encouraging us to seize the opportunity to tackle challenges for the benefit of our common planet and the future generations. These insights and visions are very important to inspire and encourage the work of the committee, especially at such a challenging time of COVID-19 pandemic. As the chairperson of an extended session of the committee, I have actually already worked with the committee members, state parties, advisory bodies, and the World Heritage Center for quite a long time. I'm satisfied to see each time we have very constructive discussions, speaking from objective and scientific perspectives and upholding the spirit of the convention. Yesterday, for the first day of the session, the members of the committee had a rich and fruitful discussion on items such as the World Heritage Capacity Building Strategy and the progress report on the World Heritage related Category 2 centers and reached broad consensus. Therefore, I have good reasons to be confident that we will achieve a successful session through hard work, close collaboration, and open, sincere, and inclusive dialogue. As briefed just now by Mr. Ottone, ADG for Culture of UNESCO, we have a great amount of work ahead. We will examine a set of 2 years agenda items. We will update 3 important lists, namely the World Heritage List, the list of World Heritage in danger, and the tentative list. And we will approach some topics with far-reaching impacts, such as the relations between climate change, sustainable development, priority Africa, and world heritage, as well as future pathways to improve working methods and governance in world heritage. Of course, there will be different opinions and even divergences on some cases, but we will work them out collectively with consensus-based decisions. To sum up, bear in mind the responsibilities endowed by the convention. This committee will spare no effort to forge a brighter future for world heritage, the common assets of the humanity as a whole. Thank you. I'd like to welcome any questions from you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Mr. Tian Xuejun, for your opening remarks and also giving us the details of very important work which is ahead and what has been done so far. I'm very pleased to note here that we have a number of esteemed journalists who have registered. We have at the moment over 40 colleagues online, and we have also on-site, as you say, in Fuzhou, 20 journalists. So to open the floor for questions, I request our esteemed journalist colleagues that please raise your hand and I will give you the floor. Please introduce yourself and say which media you represent before asking your question. And very importantly, as we are in this new mode, don't forget to turn on your microphone to speak and then turn it off when you are finished speaking. And if you would like to direct the question to our esteemed panelists, please do direct it. And if you have any difficulties, you can use the chat function. So making sure everyone gets a chance to be able to ask important questions. Let's start from first the on-site journalists in Fuzhou, and then we will, in the meanwhile, colleagues who are online, you get ready if you want to ask a question. So we give floor first to our colleagues on-site in Fuzhou. Please introduce yourself. Go ahead.
I'm from People's Daily. I would like to ask a question. I'm from the People's Daily, and I have a question to ask you.
是否会发布相关报告？
感谢这位记者的提问。世界遗产大会啊，在会。
Thank you very much for your questions. This session has a mature.
的爆发打破了原有的模式，给本届世界遗产大会的组织呢。
Thank you for the question. We have a mature procedure, but now the pandemic has disrupted.
因此呢，本届
Currently, there is a. And first, we have to postpone the 20. And that's why we have accumulated 2 years of agendas. So we have a very rich agenda. And secondly, our meeting will be online. So online deliberations require not only support and technical support, but also, and most importantly, the solidarity and the unity of the state parties and the members of the committee in order to ensure the efficiency and protective and fruitful results. And we had already the first meeting of the Bureau, and we had the first day of meeting, and we had a very good start. We can say the good start is halfway to the success. So we would like to have the support of all parties, and we will spare no effort for the success of the session. The result of today's conference will be reflected in several aspects. First, will be reflected in the nomination of heritages and also for the conservation of heritages. We hope that the updated list will enhance the representativeness, the balance of the list. And we hope that through the deliberation of the state of conservation of heritages, we can encourage member states to enhance the protection and scale up the preservation. Secondly, the session will discuss the relationship between the heritage and climate change, as well as the impact of climate change on the heritage. And we will discuss the policy document, and this discussion will have a far-reaching impact on the heritage conservation. And in addition, we will have side events, a number of side events in the margin of the conference to facilitate consensus in different areas that will be part and parcel of the result of the conference. And to the Fuzhou city, we will leave tangible and intangible treasures to this city. Chinese Vice Premier attended the meeting on the 17th of July and also participated in plantation ceremony to leave a green forest for this ceremony, for this session. And also, yesterday, we adopted by consensus a declaration of Fuzhou Declaration, encapsulating the consensus among member states and member of the council committee, and also encapsulating the common actions to be taken. I'm confident about the result of the conference.
For the first question and the answer by His Excellency. We move on. Are there any colleagues who are online and would like to raise their hand? So while we are waiting for colleagues who are thinking about their questions, can we go again on site in Fuzhou for the next journalist colleague to ask their question? Colleagues on site here. Okay, please go ahead. And online colleagues, please raise your hands.
好，我是新华社记者。
Please, question.
好，我是新华社记者。
I'm from a New China Daily. Today we will discuss about the list of heritage in danger. What's the criteria and what's the concept and the philosophy for this?
I think our dear Dr. Mechtild or our ADG may be in the best position to answer.
Thank you very much for the question. I think the World Heritage in Danger List is a concept which is fundamental to the World Heritage Convention, because the idea is of solidarity, as our chairperson just mentioned. It's a call for action on the ground. So we have sites which are under threat, where the whole of the international community has to work together to address the threats of these sites and to ensure that they are preserved for the generations to come. Thank you. Maybe ADG would like to add to that?
No, only if you allow me. It's important to understand that the list in danger is in the core of what was created, this convention, is to ensure that this universal value that we recognize, that makes him as unique as it is, should be conserved for the next generation. And if there is a call for action in solidarity from all member states to preserve this universal value, it's something that should be seen as something positive and not as what we heard from some of the authorities in other countries as a punishment. That's not about punishment. It's how we preserve our heritage for future generation. And that was the meaning of creating this list in danger.
Thank you very much for the question and very clear answers, which puts the right context for our understanding. So our secretariat is helping us to continue to look into any colleague online who would like to raise their hand. So looks like things are very clear to colleagues. So we go again to our on-site colleagues in Fuzhou for raising the next question. Over to on-site colleagues. Kindly please ask the next question.
Thank you. I am from Fuzhou Radio and Television. I'd like to raise a question to Mr. Tian Xuejun. Yesterday, we have adopted the Fuzhou Declaration. Can you please introduce us about this declaration? How can we implement it? Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your question. Yesterday, on the 17th July, we have adopted by consensus Fuzhou Declaration. The declaration reiterates the importance of protection of world heritage and as well as the cooperation. Also, it mentioned that we should join efforts to face the climate change. This declaration also pointed out that world heritage are the wealth of culture and nature. They are very valuable for promoting exchange and mutual learning of civilizations, and they are important for promoting peace and sustainable development of the world. And it also mentioned that we have to take up the challenges, conventional and unconventional challenges. And it also mentioned that it is of our collective responsibility to protect the world heritage. It also expressed its thanks to the government of the PRC and for its efforts and contributions for the holding of the 44th session of the World Heritage Committee. It also called on a closer international cooperation under the framework of multilateralism. And also we need to strengthen assistance to African countries and to CEST countries, and to reinforce the awareness raising of the world heritage. We also need to share knowledges and expertise and new technologies. And also we should take advantage of the 50th anniversary of the convention, look back and look forward, and we need to leave to our future generation an open, inclusive, and self-adaptive, resilient, sustainable, and clean world. Fuzhou Declaration is acknowledged and recognized by all the members of the committee, and everyone sing high praise for it. We all believe that this is a very balanced declaration, very inclusive, and reflect the concerns of all parties. It has a milestone importance. Moving forward, China will actively implement all the elements included in this declaration. As mentioned by Vice Premier Sun Chunlan on the 16th, China is ready to genuinely shoulder its international responsibilities, is willing to work with UNESCO to build a World Heritage platform to assist developing countries to train specialized talents in terms of World Heritage protection. We are also willing to support Priority Africa related activities. And we are also ready to contribute to raise the capacity of the developing countries in terms of World Heritage protection.
And thank you to our journalist colleague for asking those questions. We have in the chat box a request or clarification. I request Dr. Mechtild to maybe answer this. Will there be a transcript available, Dr. Mechtild?
Thank you very much. All the documents for the session are online, and all the amendments are also made available online in a fully transparent way. Then after the session, the decisions of the session will be uploaded, and we have a full summary record. But there are no transcripts of interventions at the moment when the interventions are made. It will be afterwards in the summary records. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's very clear. So all the proceedings as usual and the documents will be available in the most transparent way. So now we move to the next question. I request our on-site colleagues, as we still do not have questions from online. In the chat, is there a question? From? Okay, we have Andreas Landwehr. Andreas Landwehr from DPA. Oh, dear Andreas, would you like to take the floor? It may be best if you can ask the question directly. Or you want me to read it? Okay, you are unmuted. Kindly please take the floor.
Okay, I don't know if you can hear me. My camera is not working.
No, we can hear you perfectly, Andres, and thank you very much for taking the floor. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you for giving me the opportunity. My first question is, can you brief us on the situation of Liverpool and also the Selous Wild Reserve in Tanzania, which the two sites who are on the list of endangered sites? And secondly, what are the chances that the Great Barrier Reef will be added to the list as a result of climate change? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. I request Dr. Mechtild to take the floor on these questions.
Thank you very much for the questions. The discussion on Liverpool will happen most probably this afternoon. It's a site which was on the World Heritage List in danger already since 2012. And at the last session of the World Heritage Committee in Baku, there was already a warning for potential delisting. So this is up for discussion. And tomorrow in the afternoon, there will be a discussion on Selous Game Reserve in the United Republic of Tanzania. And the issue there is construction of the dam in the middle of the site. And as for Liverpool, again, it's a proposal for delisting of the site, meaning removal from the list of World Heritage. Now, concerning the Great Barrier Reef, that will be discussed on the 23rd, according to our time schedule. And the proposal is to put the site on the list of World Heritage in danger. We acknowledge very much the work which has been done in Australia, but our text in the draft decision and in the document, which you can see under item 7B, which is fully online in English and French, is a proposal for putting the site on the list of World Heritage in danger because of the threats which were identified also in the documents the State Party provided to us. So that's the very short answer to this complex question.
Thank you very much, dear Dr. Rössler. And our colleagues have put in the chat box, there would be, of course, the video available for the press conference, and also the agenda and the document links are there, so colleagues, journalist colleagues can consult with them. So while we are waiting for the next online question, I request our colleagues who are on site here in Fuzhou to kindly ask the next question.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Rössler. I'm from Fujian Daily. We know that the World Heritage's properties are located in a disparate way around the globe because of the capacity building issue. So capacity building is an important function of UNESCO. So I'd like to ask a question about how can UNESCO help countries to raise their capacity to do capacity building activities in terms of heritage protection. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will request our dear Dr. Rössler, and maybe also our ADG can add to this one.
Absolutely. Capacity building is one of the core functions, one of the 5 C's of the World Heritage Committee, and we have invested a lot over time in capacity building. We have the 10th anniversary of the capacity building strategy, and as was explained by our dear chairperson, yesterday the committee had an intensive debate to do also an evaluation of the capacity building strategy to work towards the future, because we see that for certain regions institutions. We need to do much more in terms of preparing sound nominations and to enhance capacity building in general in terms of conservation and site management, preparing for risks because many World Heritage sites are under threat, and that is a huge task to undertake. And we are assisted by the advisory bodies, especially ICROM, which is a capacity building institution based in Rome, and IUCN for Natural Heritage. But maybe Mr. Chair or Mr. ADG wish to add, please.
That would be very valuable, Mr. Chair and ADG. Dear ADG,
Yes.
would you like to add more?
Yes, I would like to also mention how important it is to see what happened during the last year and a half with the pandemic. It has forced institutions like UNESCO to find new ways of doing capacity building in regions where normally we have problem to go. And in other conventions, like the 70 Convention or the 2001 on subaquatic heritage, underwater heritage, we are trying to push to use new technologies to allow us to go broader and having capacity building prepared also online. So maybe it's part of the reflection that we have to do, how we prepare for this new world when technologies and all the digital means will somehow help us to go where we are not able to go before. And the second issue is, as the chairperson mentioned, we have two big priorities in UNESCO, and I'm not talking only about World Heritage, is priority Africa and gender. And in this sense, we are preparing, notably with Chinese financial support, a very big project that goes in this direction to help and to push this priority Africa to be somehow revised and ensured to give the results that we are all waiting. Because when Dr. Rössler told you that we are looking how to improve what we have been doing during the last 10 years, it is because we know very well that there are some regions where we need to put more efforts. And it's not only Africa, it's also Latin America, it's also the Arab region and some part of Asia. So that is for me.
Thank you very much, dear ADG and Dr. Rössler, for those answers. And as ADG has said, our dear chairperson has already added many of excellent ideas. So with that, to make sure we continue to listen to all the journalists, we move to the next question. We have still nobody is raising hands, but I'm very, very grateful to our colleagues who are putting links to the relevant documents for which the questions are being asked. So you can in detail see the drafts and then see what comes with the decision. So now we have a question here from Jamie Smith, right? So dear Jamie Smith, would you like to ask this question directly rather than me reading it? Jamie, would you like to?
Yes, sure. Yeah, I was just wanting to ask the chair if he could respond to the allegation from the Australian government that the decision to list the Great Barrier Reef on the endangered list was in some way politically motivated at the behest of the Chinese government. Thank you.
Dear our chair, kindly please.
The recommendation of including the Great Barrier Reef of Australia into the World Heritage List in danger was given according to the examination of IUCN the advisory body to the convention. The recommendation was made based on reports and data offered by Australia. In this regard, both the World Heritage Center and IUCN have made clarifications. Australia, as a member state of World Heritage Committee, should be aware of this situation, attach importance to the opinions of the advisory bodies, and earnestly fulfill the duty of World Heritage protection instead of making groundless accusations against other states parties. This session will review the state of conservation of the Great Barrier Reef of Australia. As the chairperson of World Heritage Committee, I believe that members of the committee will discuss and make decisions according to the suggestions of advisory bodies in a scientific manner while upholding the spirit of the convention and following the rules of the session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Now, I would also like our Secretariat, Dr. Mechtild, would you like to add something to the chair's explanation to this question?
I think I have nothing more to add because the chairperson clearly said it. And as usual, we follow exactly the same procedures. We get reports from states parties. We analyze these reports with our advisory bodies. We prepare the documents and then they are presented to the World Heritage Committee. So it's the same procedure. We follow it through for, and I have been here for 30 years, so it has not changed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to make sure this is clear to all our journalist colleagues that exactly the same procedures are being followed for a long time. And thank you for very clear answers. Now, I would also like to remind colleagues, we have roughly around another 10 minutes because there is an important meeting to take place by our chair and our secretariat with our World Heritage Committee members. We have colleagues on site would like to ask any question. Colleagues on site, next question from you. Okay, kindly proceed, introduce yourself.
我是中国网。
Thank you. I'm from China.net. I would like to raise a question to the chairperson, Mr. Tian. World Heritage Committee mentioned that there should be a representative, balanced, and credible list strategy in order to reflect an outstanding universal value. So how can this session of World Heritage Committee will reflect this, and what are your thinkings?
重要的问题。
This is a very important question. Regarding the World Heritage List, as well as the types of properties and the geographical balance, the World Heritage Committee in 1994 has raised a strategy in order to balance the geographical distribution and representation of the World Heritage. Over the last 20 years, the advisory body as well as the World Heritage Center has carried out a lot of works and made joint efforts. For example, in 2004, in Fuzhou, the 28th session of the WHC were held. And during this conference, there's a systematical stock-taking and forward-looking exercise in this regard. This time, on the 44th session of the World Heritage Committee, we will reflect, evaluate, and look forward around the implementation of this strategy. Over the last 2 years, members of World Heritage Committee and state parties all actively joined in the process of reform of nomination process. and they all participated in the works of specialized task force dedicated to this purpose. They have done a lot of work and exploration in this regard. So the current session of the World Heritage Committee will gather wisdom and opinions from various stakeholders. We will target the problem of underrepresentations of CEST countries and African countries, and we will we will make the orientation clearer and mobilize stakeholders in order to gather more support in this area. It will promote a better implementation of this established strategy. As chairperson of the World Heritage Committee, I will encourage and lead the committee in order that everyone can contribute their forces and wisdoms and deal with this important issue of underrepresentation of regions and countries on the World Heritage List, especially African countries and CEST countries. In terms of World Heritage protection, we should lend more support to developing countries, help them doing capacity building activities in order to elevate the representation and geographical balance of the World Heritage List, so that all the World Heritage properties can be included, or so that this list can represent more diversities of the World Heritage around the world. Thank you.
Any other questions from online or on-site colleagues? First, online, if there is any colleague who want to take floor. So if not, let's ask colleagues in Fuzhou on-site to express their interest if they want to ask any question. On-site colleagues. Oh yeah, somebody has raised hand, I can see here. Please stand up and ask your question.
Thank you. I'm a reporter from China Daily. I have a question that, well, since some sites have been proposed to be included in the list of the World Heritage in danger, so how to avoid the destiny to be finally, to be moved out of the list of cultural heritage, World Heritage, if the locals willing for urban development or the construction has to be concerned, and how to balance the relationship between the economic development and their need to protect the cultural heritage. Thank you.
Dr. Rössler.
Thank you very much. This is a very important question, because when a site is inscribed on the UNESCO's World Heritage List, the duty is of the country, but also of the international community to protect the site for the generations to come. Now, in terms of urban development, or sometimes for some of the sites out of the urban context, we have developments which are ill-advised. So what needs to be done is to work very closely with UNESCO's World Heritage Center and the advisory bodies to ensure that the development is not detrimental to the outstanding universal value, meaning that there is no impact of development on this outstanding universal value and the integrity and authenticity of the sites. Now, we have many tools at our disposal. UNESCO has also an additional legal instrument, which is the 2011 recommendation of the historic urban landscape, to ensure that any new architectural insertions and other infrastructure development development is detrimental to the protection of cities and sites. So we have a lot of other means available, other tools available, for example, impact assessments. Since 2008, we have been working also on guidance for impact assessments, and both for cultural heritage, we have them for a long time for natural heritage. And what we would like to see on the ground is that these tools are used. You know, I get hundreds of letters every day. I got over the past weekend 8,000 emails of people who are concerned about certain developments in sites. What we really would like to see is that the local and the national authorities work very closely with us to prevent any detrimental effects on the outstanding universal value. And we have all the tools at our disposal and the teams are there. And I think we have made a lot of progress over time. But we all know that there is there are global processes underway, urbanization, industrialization, etc. So we need to find a balance here in terms of sustainable development, and the World Heritage Committee and the General Assembly has adopted a global policy on World Heritage and sustainable development. And I think we need to take that serious. Thank you.
Thank you very much, dear Dr. Rössler, and thank you for highlighting many of the resources which are available with experts from all over the world. Very important to also note that there is so much interest in World Heritage. This is all the time we have for today. I really thank our esteemed panelists for taking these questions very carefully. And we have to announce also that for journalists on site, there is a gift for you in Chinese. So Dr. Rössler, can you quickly highlight what you are presenting to colleagues? And for journalists online, they can download it, right?
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Professor Khan. We have produced for this World Heritage Committee session a special issue on China. So all for those people who are not with us in China, you have it, you can download it. It's available in English, French, Spanish, and Chinese. And we have copies in front of the press room here in Fuzhou. And it's a great pleasure for us to have so beautiful articles in this review. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, Professor Khan.
Thank you very much. Very important gift for all of us. Of course, journalists, very special. They will report many stories in days. We are looking forward to your stories and the coverage of World Heritage Committee's excellent work and your ideas. And I would like to also remind you, dear colleagues, that this is not our last interaction. We have very capable colleagues like Roni, Emilian, and Lucia Iglesias. They are available to you during and after the World Heritage Committee session. Their contact information is on UNESCO's website and in the press kit. And as we said before, that for this session, you will also have the video available. I wish you a great day from here in Fuzhou. I wish you were here. And I thank you again for your participation in this very interactive press conference on the 44th session of the World Heritage Committee. From all of us here in Fuzhou, we say goodbye to you, and we look forward for the good time when we can see each other in person. Thank you. Thank you very much.